All right, so these are the harsh truths about power that a lot of people learn too late, not because they're dumb, but because you most likely are. You're a good-hearted person. And the reason why I say this is because unfortunately, for most people, the only ones truly interested in the game of power are socio and psychopaths and people who can't spell, right? And so today, I want you to understand these truths because it'll help defend you, friends and family, against people who are trying to manipulate you, against people who are trying to play you, okay? So these are the harsh truths that most of us refuse to learn about as we're growing up because this seems a little dark and a little manipulative. But unfortunately, you gotta play fire with fire. If you don't learn this truth, they're gonna eat you up and swallow you whole, okay? So let's begin with the first thing is nothing is ever given to you. You take it yourself. Let me tell you something, man. Nothing in life is free. No one's gonna give you something everyone else wants. If they give it to you, they're giving it to you because they want something from you. Nothing is ever for free. If you, for example, if Diddy comes to you and says, hey man, I wanna give you an opportunity because I like you. You don't have to work hard. I'm gonna make you a star. I'm gonna make you big. I'm gonna stretch you out. I mean, your star level, right? And so you might think it's good, but the truth is what happens. There's something else behind it, right? Nothing is ever free. Whenever you think somebody's trying to give you something for free, don't take it because it usually comes with hidden fees, right? So if you want to become an actor, if you want to become a star, if you want to become an artist, you can't rely on people to give it to you. You just can't. You have to find a way to make it yourself. If you depend on somebody to give you a blessing, even if it comes to you, it's gonna ruin you. Look at Justin Bieber, right? He was given the opportunity of a lifetime that most artists would have wished. He was on YouTube, he was singing, and then all of a sudden he got big. But what happened? He hung out with Diddy afterwards. There was a lot of fine prints behind that. An example would be if you wanna be a star, take your own path. Find a way to make it yourself. Be an independent artist. That is the best for you to have power. If you depend on somebody to give you the contract, to give you everything, I can promise you, long term, you will regret it. It's much better for you to build it on your own, with your own sweat. And if you are gonna work with someone, make sure that you have some form of leverage. All right, so that's the first one. Never trust appearances. The game of power is a game of appearance, of how things look on the outside in. And so if you trust what people show you on the outside, you're gonna be fooled. What is that saying that goes, history was written by the victors? Appearance is all a game. If somebody looks like an angel and they look like a holy person, it's an image that they created. If somebody looks like you as somebody who's unprofessional, as somebody who doesn't take things seriously, it's because you appear to be that. You don't have to be that, but you appear to be that. And unfortunately, in the game of power, that's what matters, the game of appearances. So you might be a brilliant person, but if nobody sees that you're brilliant, you're never really gonna gain anything from it, right? And this is why a lot of people give money and make sure that other people see it, because they're playing the game of appearances. Now, what do I think about that? Well, first of all, if you're gonna be being philanthropic just to gain power, at least you're being philanthropic to gain power, right? You could be an asshole to gain power, so it's not a bad thing. But always never trust appearances. So if somebody looks like an angel, don't assume like that they're an angel. Assume that maybe there's something behind. They call it a dark side. And dark side come out in its opposites, meaning if something is dark on one side, you should always assume the opposite on the other side. So if somebody appears holy, I can promise you they're a devil on the inside. If somebody tries to come across really smart on the outside, I can promise you they're really overcompensated because they don't feel intelligent. Never trust appearance. In fact, whatever you see, assume the opposite. Those in powers, like I said earlier, tend to be psychopaths and sociopaths. So you gotta be careful when you're trying to play this game. If you wanna be a mob boss, a cartel member, if you're trying to be a politician and you're not a psychopath or sociopath, you're gonna get eaten up. Or develop some psychopathic, sociopathic traits as a defense mechanism. The reason why is because to really be successful, what people don't understand is that it comes with backstabbing, not being honest, things that most of us, me and you, value. And if we do the things that it takes to gain power, you're not gonna be able to sleep at night. And so this field is made for the dark motherfuckers, people who have no heart. And that's why those are the ones that tend to be the most powerful. You will do their dirty work, right? People in power don't get their hands dirty. They let other people do it for them. if you're gonna be working for someone who has some form of power, they'll make you do the dirty work for them. A perfect example is watching a show, House of Cards. That's a perfect example of that, where he gets his assistant to do all the dirty work. And so that means that maybe you're gonna have to be the one that fires people. Maybe you're gonna have to be the one that delivers the bad news. Maybe you're gonna have to be the one that does something corrupt for your boss. But the point is that they keep their hands clean, not because they're perfect, but because they let other people do the dirty work. Like, for example, with the Diddy thing, there was one time when he got caught with a gun with Jennifer Lopez and some other dude, and he paid off the other dude to take the gun charge, right? And so it's kind of like, that's one of the things about power, is that if you are gonna be working in any place, you will do most of the dirty work, which is kind of makes sense, right? You work somewhere place, and usually the one who has to like fucking clean the toilet are usually the beginners. So you do the dirty work from the beginning if you don't have power. If you want to gain power, be good at doing the dirty work. Now, this one is for those who get bullied. People attack those who appear weak. If you look like a weak nation, another nation close by is gonna attack you. If you look like someone who gets bullied, other people are gonna attack you. Like a fucking, like food to flies, they're gonna sense weakness coming from you. And that's why people get bullied. Not because they're bad people, but because they come across as weak. You have to learn to develop an intimidating aura. And that usually comes down through one, your willingness to fight. Your literally, like, the thought of, if you fuck with me, I'm fighting with you, gives you like a certain aura that emanates from you. An emanation of power comes from people who are willing to use force, who are willing to die fighting. It literally changes all of your nonverbal cues, where you'll go from this to this. More serious, well, this guy looks nervous, but more serious, right? And this is all a reflection of your thoughts. If you feel unsure of yourself, your eyes will go in multiple directions, looking around, twitchy muscles. If you feel sure of yourself, there's gonna be like a steadiness about you. Your eyes are gonna be steady. Your heart rate is gonna be steady. Your movement's gonna be steady. No twitchy movement. And it actually goes to the steady eye principle, where if you're focused and you don't move, you gain more power, you learn faster. Everything is faster whenever you are steady. Literally, for example, if you wanna be happier, stop looking around and focus in one location. Like, literally focus on one thing, and it literally relaxes your body. But whenever you feel unsure of yourself, you don't know where to sit. You don't know how to feel comfortable. And so your eyes are looking everywhere, and your movement is more exaggerated. And that comes across as weakness. And a lot of people who get bullied have this twitchy vibe about them, where they're always looking around. Somebody says their name and they look. Somebody says something and they're so afraid deep down, they react with adrenaline and fear. And people sense that. You gotta have a more relaxed aura. Something, you're not like nerve. For example, in the movie The Godfather, when he was trying to act like he had a gun, Michael Corleone and another guy were faking like they had guns. And all of a sudden, they didn't have the guys left. They took their hands out and the other guy was shaking, but Michael was like still. That's the type of stillness that I'm talking about. And you could develop that through developing a meditation practice. Beware of friends, people. Those are the ones who will betray you, people. Your friends and family are the ones that will betray you. If somebody's gonna steal from you, it's not gonna be your enemy, it's gonna be your friends and family. That's just how that is. If somebody's gonna sabotage you, it's not gonna be your enemy, it's gonna be your friends and family. Actually, it's gonna be you, right? You gotta realize that your biggest enemies are in your peripheral. And a lot of the times, like I do, you let your guard down because they're around, they look friendly. But unfortunately, history shows you, like Julius Caesar, you too, the ones that betray you are the ones that are closest to you. And so we sort of don't want to admit that reality because it makes us feel uneasy. It makes us feel incapable of dealing with reality. We can't trust everyone around us. And so we rather go into our own little cocoon of denial and act like that's not a reality. And that's how you get played. That's how all of these artists who work for Diddy, who work for Death Row Records, got money stolen from them because they trusted someone who they thought was somebody who was on their side. The next one, guard your reputation, ladies and gentlemen. If your reputation is the one thing that will follow you, even if you change, your reputation won't. You could be known as a liar when you're 20, and because you're known as a liar, you could convert, change everything, but they'll still see you as a liar. Your reputation is the thing that follows you. For example, with basketball, sometimes when you first start playing, when you're watching NBA basketball, you have guys that from the start are known to be good defenders, right? and they actually defend really well. But what happens is that as they get older, they start to actually not become good defenders. But people still see them as good defenders. Why? Because they have the reputation of a good defender. You can have a player who's a bad defender when he starts off his career. And so he develops a reputation of being a bad defender. But then that same player actually becomes a good defender later in his career. And you know what happens? People still see him as a bad defender. That's the power of your reputation. You could be someone that if people know you as someone who could fight, you could be at your weakest point. You could be laying down on the ground, acting like you're defeated. But because you have the reputation of a great fighter, people won't even try you, even when you look weak, because they'll think that maybe you're acting weak. That's what happens when you have that. And it has an effect where when people think you're not professional, when people think that you're not an honest person, maybe somebody lied, maybe somebody spread you rumors, that's gonna follow you. So how do you deal with a bad reputation? Well, I'm not gonna go too into it, but just associate yourself with people who have a good reputation. Become a Christian, become religious. Associate yourself with people who are part of a movement that's honest. Association with someone with a good reputation is the best way and quickest way to fix a bad reputation, right? Now, this one, I say this, but don't think I'm a liar, people, but this is actually the truth. Honesty is not the best policy. And now, I'm not telling you guys to be a bunch of psychopaths who keep lying, but I'm just saying that honesty isn't always the best way to go with things. If somebody's, let me try to think about this because I can't think of any other scenario where honesty is bad and good. When is this honesty good? Oh yeah. For example, if you show me someone who's honest with everyone, I'm gonna show you someone who has no friends. It's just that simple. Oh, what's your weakness? What's your biggest weakness? Oh man, my biggest weakness is that I lie a lot and that I stole from my last boss. Oh, what the fuck, really? Yeah, I'm just get the fuck out of here, man. You can't be honest about things. And what happens is that good people tend to be too honest. And I'm not telling you guys to be liars, but sometimes you gotta gain something. I don't give a fuck. You can't just be all honest with people, telling people everything you have in mind. For example, I remember one time, I used to be that person that I would say exactly what was on my mind, even though it hurt. One time, this girl, she asked me, she was a friend of mine, well, not anymore. She asked me, hey, Delaisa, do I look fat? Did I get fat? People, ladies and gentlemen, she was this one year and this the next. Look, I'm not a good liar. So when she said, I was like, yeah, man, you gain a little weight. I saw her face. Yo, she went from this to fucking this, people. And I'm pretty good at pissing people off. This was undeniable. And she never talked to me after that. What did I learn from that is that sometimes when people ask for advice, they don't ask for honesty. They rather ask, what they're really seeking is validation. So rather than that honesty, I prefer you just go on the route of validating people. That's the part that kind of sucks, right? But most people aren't honest with you. And the ones that were honest with you, you got pissed off. That's just how that works. Next one is people will help you only if it fits their self-interest. People don't help you because they just want to help you. They help you because you offer them something. They don't just teach you something for the sake of teaching. They teach you something if it gives them something. For example, I teach for free, but the only reason why I teach for free is because it makes me happy. I gain something from teaching. I like seeing people help. Now, you can say I'm doing it too dumb, and it is true, but at the end of the day, it makes me happy seeing them do good. So there's still self-interest. It's just like my self-interest is unselfish, if that makes any sense. So when you're trying to ask for help, don't think they're just gonna help you because of you. If they help you for no reason, trust me, there's a reason why they help you. You're fulfilling some self-interest that they have and you just don't know. So anytime you ask for help, don't tell people you're such a nice person, help me. Find out what interests them. For example, if you're trying to work with a certain artist who you could learn from, don't say, hey, can I learn from you? No, find out what they're not good at and offer to help them in exchange for free classes. Find their self-interest and give it to them. Maybe they do want to look like they're good people. So then you say, hey, if you help me, I'll tell everyone you helped me. And that person has an ego desire to get validated. So that does help. But maybe this person doesn't want other people to tell that you helped them. So you find what they want. But the point is, don't just ask for help because people are good. People don't just help people for the sake of helping. If they could gain something from helping you, they'll help you. If not, they won't. Now, the next one is don't conform to the standard that society gives you. And this is very important. And I say this is important because the society will give you a certain, they'll tell you who they want you to be based on how you look in your society role. So if you're a boy or even a girl from a certain place, there's a certain expectation and box that they try to put you in. Me, when I was born and raised, I was put in a box where I was gonna go to work a 9 to 5, have kids, live in this one area, and then work 30 years and retire, right? Everyone was following that path. And when I tried to get out of that, people thought I was crazy. But the thing is that if you let people fit you, you will fit. You have to recreate yourself and assume a role. Don't assume the role that society tells you. They tell you, oh, you are a boy, so that means you gotta work in construction, like in Mexico, right? You gotta work in construction. But yo, man, fuck that shit, man. Work in programming. Don't get dirty. Do something else. Do whatever you like. But if you do what society says, you will lose power. And 10 years from now, you're gonna regret it, okay? So these are the 10 harsh laws of power that people learn too late or are in denial. Understand these and you'll notice that the roadblocks in life will lessen, okay? So if you guys enjoyed this video, click the like button and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.